Getting through the first 10 chapters of The Invisible Man, I kind of got hung up on some of the stuff that happens in the very first 2 or 3, and specifically I got thinking about first impressions and how it's even possible to make a first impression when you're not able to make a visual impression and are invisible. I really liked Wells's juxtaposition of this whole idea of invisibility with his use of visual details and just very, very vivid imagery. And he's describing the stranger's appearance to Mrs. Hall, and he writes of his nose, "It was bright pink and shiny, just as it had been at first. He wore a dark brown velvet jacket with a high black linen." You get the idea. And this whole thing goes back to the idea of first impressions, and at first it talks about the impression he made on Miss Hall, and then it goes on, and by the second chapter you already have a chapter titled Mr. Teddy Henfrey's First Impressions, so Wells is hitting it pretty square on the nose there. But once the dust settles from this sudden arrival of the stranger, you get these really rude interactions, and the stranger just comes off as this really unpleasant, short-tempered, hostile figure, and it got me thinking about, can you be expected to be held accountable for your actions when you can't even be seen? And the stranger tries to make these excuses of why he's so short-tempered with everybody, and you can take those excuses for whatever. He was involved in an accident, but I thought funny that the reason he gives to Mrs. Hall is that an accident left him extremely sensitive to light, which is sort of the opposite of invisibility, because I guess when you're invisible, light doesn't interact with you at all. So I thought that was ironic and pretty funny, actually. And that's what I thought of The Invisible Man.